We are headed to the weekend, but before we do, I'm Rolene Marks. This is the Israel Brief brought to you by Lay of the Land, taking a look at those top stories making headlines. And we begin with news that Israel has welcomed the decision by the IAEA Board of Governors to censure Iran for failing to meet their legal requirements with regards to safeguard violations. The censure was voted in with an overwhelming majority and is in with regards to the removal of 27 surveillance cameras. Now, whether or not it is a coincidence, the Ayatollah al-Khamenei took to Twitter yesterday to write some things that are barely repeatable in polite company, but all we can say is that Adolf Hitler would have been proud of the horrendous anti-Israel, anti-Semitic and anti-Zionist rhetoric that the Ayatollah, who really shouldn't have a platform on the social media outlet, absolutely horrendous. And he doubled down today by addressing pilgrims headed to the Hajj in Saudi Arabia, saying that they need to expose Zionist conspiracies. Now, I don't see it as a coincidence. I see it as the response by the Iranians to the IAEA's decision to censure them. The United Kingdom has joined the United States in rejecting the report issued yesterday by the United Nations Human Rights Council that basically lays the blame of the decades-long conflict between Israel and her Palestinian neighbors squarely at Israel's feet. The United Kingdom, in their statement, said that not only is there this extreme disproportionate focus on Israel at the expense of other conflicts around the world, but this does not help the efforts for peace. The United Kingdom said that while they are committed to the United Nations Human Rights Council, it needs to fulfill its mandate by not putting forward vague definitions for commissions of inquiry. Now, there has been a lot of controversy around this particular COI because one of the commissioners, Navi Pillay, an ex-South African, has been taken to task on several occasions for her extreme anti-Israel bias. In fact, there are petitions and moves to have her removed from the COI, which is an annual commission, because she has already exposed her flagrant bias. It was announced earlier today that Prime Minister Bennett had made an unannounced visit to the United Arab Emirates. This is probably what we are assuming in response to the decision by the IAEA to censure Iran, because we do know that up for discussion during his meeting with Crown Prince Mohammed bin Zayed was Iran. Also in the meeting was the fact that the Prime Minister paid tribute to the late President Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed, who passed away just several weeks ago. The Prime Minister also spoke about the enduring bond that has now been started to be built between Emiratis and Israelis. If I'm mumbling my words, it has been a really long day. The Prime Minister was welcomed with a guard of honor and will also meet the Foreign Minister during his visit there today. And our final story is really a positive one. The West African country of Liberia have announced that they will be opening an office in Jerusalem. Liberia does not have an embassy in Israel, but there is a delegation here presently, and they have met with the Foreign Minister as well as the Defense Minister. They've also discussed with Israeli officials how to deal with a terrible drought situation in that country, as well as improve agriculture and tourism. Liberia is a very friendly country towards Israel, having supported Israel in institutions like the United Nations and the African Union. Now, it is hoped that the office will eventually grow to be an embassy and will add Liberia to the growing list of countries opening their embassies in the capital, Jerusalem. So that brings us to the end of today's Israel Brief. Don't forget to check out our website at www.layoftheland.online. You can read all about the 6-Day War. That's the latest article from Dave Kaplan. That's up there now. Head up to our Facebook page. You can find us at Lottel's site. Give us a like, a follow, and share our content. We really appreciate it when you do that. We are on YouTube at the Israel Brief. Please give us an endorsement by clicking on the subscribe button. And we're on Twitter at layoftheland5. So with that, I'm Rolene Marks, and on behalf of the team here at Lay of the Land, we wish you all a wonderful, a safe and a healthy weekend. Shabbat Shalom, and don't forget to join me again on Monday.